Welcome to another CEO Wisdom Pods. Today with Tyrone Faverey. He is co-founder and CEO at RevolutionaryFitness USA and revsupps. So we're going to talk about biohacking, nootropics, fitness, life, mentality, aka mindset, manifestation, and reaching your goals. Really glad to have my main man, Tyrone, that is. Podpire.com. That's the sponsor of this podcast. If you want to start, scale, be invited to a podcast, or even get sponsors for your own podcast, you can get great guests like Tyrone, get insights from them, you can get leads, you can get subscribers, grow your community, and even clients out of podcasts. Podpire.com. Tyrone, welcome to the pod. Can you tell me a bit more about yourself and Revolutionary Fitness USA?
Yeah, you nailed it, by the way. Revolutionary Fitness USA. So yes, so Revolutionary Fitness USA essentially is a fitness lifestyle platform that we built in the midst of the pandemic and the whole George Floyd incident. Essentially, what we aim to achieve is providing more health, nutritional, and lifestyle resources to the urban community altogether. So what we recognize is that there's a bit of a gap in terms of understanding, education, and just general know-how when it comes to health and fitness in the Black and Brown communities in the United States. And what we've learned that, especially with COVID, that if, a lot of this community was healthier prior to getting COVID, then it could have prevented a lot of deaths altogether. So that's something that really got me going. One of my biggest motivators, and it's just recognizing that within this community that I'm a part of, if we can truly get them to where they need to go in terms of a health and fitness aspect of life, it can help revolutionize and change their overall happiness levels and overall relationship with food, with exercise, with their relationships at home. There's so many different applications, and we want to take it to the next level. So we want to dip our toes into supplements, which we've done. We want to dip our toes into mental health. We want to dip our toes into all aspects of health, talking relationship health, wealth, finance, the whole deal, and really just help people overcome a lot of the issues that they have related to this category.
Love it. I love the niche because it's underserved. Okay, so that's one. That's more opportunity for you. Second, you're part of it, right? So the heart is definitely there. So that's motivation right there. Love what you're doing. I think it starts with education, right? So how do you make sure to educate folks that, eating fried chicken and McDonald's and supersizing it all the time is not the way to go?
Well, I think society is doing a good job of recognizing that these things aren't particularly healthy, and they're at least putting people in a position to make their own choices. What's unfortunate is that these particular places, these fast food joints, they still currently are really heavily marketed in the urban communities, in the hoods, in these locations. And you drive into any concentrated, area, with high concentration of Black, brown people, you'll find that there's going to be a McDonald's on every corner. There's going to be a liquor store on every corner. There's going to be, and that's just common. It's common practice. And that stems from times before us. But, we can't do on that. We really have to start today and create a new history for what we're trying to achieve. But essentially what we try to do is we try to get people to start small. Start with the smallest things that they can make adjustments on. If it is fried foods, we try to challenge people to, air fry, right? Let's make a small adjustment. Cook at home, air fry if you need that fried taste, as a part of your palate. Switch over from fried chicken to fried fish, just small adjustments to help people really take those baby steps to get to where they need to go on their fitness journey, because that's exactly what it is, right? It's a journey. And that's what people forget. There's ups, there's downs, there's lefts, there's rights, there's alligator pits, like there's all different types of traps in this journey. You're going to fall backwards. I mean, just last week I had pizza, and I felt terrible afterwards, of course, but I knew that I had to feed that piece of me that wasn't gone yet. And it's just about the overwhelming percentage of your diet. What's clean, what's nourishing, what's keeping you healthy. And as long as that's and starting. As long as that's increasing, then you're doing a great job,
Right. So to support you on that, and that's not advice for anyone because I'm very advanced in my health and fitness journey. But yeah, I have pizza at least once a week. Just that the pizza is sourdough pizza. It's really good and healthy pizza,
There you
first-hand
go.
ingredients from a fancy place, and it's fucking delicious, man. I eat once a day. So yeah, once I eat, man.
Let me
Not
challenge you.
yeah.
Broccoli pizza. We just had a couple of
Ooh,
weeks ago. Broccoli
yeah,
crust.
yeah,
Yeah, it was delicious. My wife
yeah.
made it. It was incredible.
And how about the digestion? Because broccoli, I tend to fart a lot on broccoli. There's so much good stuff in there, though. Like for testosterone, like
Yeah.
me, digestion is quite important. So, like, what about that part?
Well, I mean, probiotics are going to help, and just kind of when you say you're advanced, and that's sort of when you take it to the next level. That's when you want to start with specific micronutrients and supplementation to help break down a lot of those proteins and what's happening inside your stomach with the foods that you're eating. So it's just understanding your body and knowing what you need to do.
Right. Think, to come back to your points about these places in the hood. Well, my quick piece of advice for people there is just like A/B test constantly. You will fail all the time. That's part of A/B testing. You'll experiment hundreds of different foods, right? And that's easy because there's 365 days in a year. Every day you can eat something different. Actually, every day you can eat 3 times different. I say one thing because I eat one meal a day, which is also another weird thing. So A/B test. But to come back to what you were saying in the hood, McDonald's and all of that, and the liquor store here in Mexico, eating at McDonald's is like semi-luxurious,
Yeah.
like or KFC, for example. Um, my
Right.
question for you is, and I often ponder about that, is how can you help people that are kind of in the Batman pit? The movie Batman, the last one, I think, with Bane, when he's in the pit and he's trying to get out,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
how do you help these folks while not putting too much pressure on them? Because the McDonald's thing is like, give them what they want,
Yeah.
which is like short-term comfort, but obviously it keeps them in the pit. So how do you make sure to give them tough love, give them advice that is hard, granted that they don't have a lot of energy because life is fucking hard for them? um how do you actually help these folks get out of the pit?
I mean, a lot of it is it's mentality. It's starting with the brain. It's starting with the wants and needs, and helping people understand the difference between them. It's strengthening that relationship and weakening the relationship between fast foods, and helping them truly understand the power of what it is you put inside your body. When people recognize that they're in control over their obesity or not, right? They're in control of that. Then they start to see that, oh, well, I have high cholesterol. Maybe I should, think about what it is that I put into my body, because I'm the one doing it. I'm the one killing myself, right? And that's the power behind it. Is what, when people truly recognize the power they have with what they can actually nourish their bodies with, that's the wake up call. And that's what a lot of people usually, when they are dipping their toe in the journey, they're missing that point. And then when they hit it, and when it truly triggers in their mind, then that's when they start their journey a lot of the time. But for these guys and in these women and these children that are sort of call it imprisoned, when it comes to that piece, I don't say anything to them, honestly, because you can't, right? I mean, there's so many cases that show that the harder you push on people that truly believe something, and you tell them that it's wrong, they will make up reasons why you're wrong, even if they know to some degree that they are losing an argument. So there's no reason to. It's a losing battle every time. So people have to have an opening. There's got to be an opening in order for us or anybody to really go in and help change the way they look at things.
I have a bunch of other points because this convo is fun, but how do you get that opening? Because yeah, I've seen that myself. I also seen that me, I'm extremely stubborn, you know. So if I just push on people for like 5 to 6 years, I start seeing that they start to understand slowly but surely. But how do you create that opening in them?
It's tough. Truth be told, I'm still working on it with some of my close family and friends.
Same
Um,
here.
and it's patience more than anything else. It's really just paying attention to certain things that they may say or do, and just like put little jabs, little mini jabs. Not too crazy, You see like your wife running to McDonald's, or your wife grabbing Oreos at the grocery store, and you're like, have you read the label? Just little jabs. Like little jabs, and then they read the label. See how many calories that the 3 cookies are, and then they were like, oh, wow, I never really looked at the label before. I didn't recognize that I was, going so crazy with my calories just by eating a couple of cookies, or by purchasing a simple purchase, a bag of I don't know, like chicken breast that's in a bag that's breaded, versus the chicken breast that's, more organic, that you can get from one of the outer aisles. It's just understanding the difference, right? And looking at what they put inside, because they pump a lot of stuff with sodium. They pump a lot of stuff with potassium and all these extra preservatives and ingredients that you're not really looking for in that particular meal at that particular time. So not to say that sodium, potassium, all that stuff is bad, because it isn't, but it's just about, if you're trying to achieve certain results, you want to know what's in your food,
Right.
So
Right. So I got my wife on that. Sometimes she brings an Oreo to the grocery store, especially when she's like low energy and not feeling super good. And I'm like, baby, are you sure? And then she puts them out, because we
right.
had various convos, just like the ingredients, the toxicity of many of them is just, it's not really the calories. It's such bullshit in there. And it saddens me that big corporations like Nestle, for example, they constantly put shit in her body. That's where capitalism might have gone wrong. And yeah, I'm just inspired also to build some kind of Whole Foods, but with like very affordable prices, and drop these, and ideally not make any profits out of these, just to give folks a normal opportunity. A mindset also that I utilize before buying food. Well, I have this trick at the grocery store that I let my brain pick up every item, and then I make decisions at the pay line. So I may leave like a couple of bullshit items there. It's like my best self analyzing once I'm waiting in line. Another cool model is order food on your phone, because when you're on your phone, you're like less distracted, and you can fully focus on what you're going to order. You're going to know the prices. It's just a better decision. Last but not least, the question that I have for you, because in these the last piece of wisdom I wanted to share is, how will you feel after the meal? Okay, I think a lot of people, they think about how they feel during the meal. This is super good, but how will you feel after? Will you have a stomach ache? Will you feel full? Will you feel like puking? Will you feel down of energy right after? Think about this, and try to remember last time that you ate that, and possibly even have some kind of journal to analyze. Okay, I ate a potato and I felt that way. And sometimes it's healthy stuff can bring you those effects. I've ate kale for quite some time, and kale is not made for my fucking stomach. I get like stomach cramps when I eat that. Not sure if you have anything to say about all of this before I ask my next question.
Well, I think it's a very important question, honestly, because what we as a society, and I don't know Mexican culture as well, however, but I do know that the way people are wired generally is that we are quick to go after pleasure versus pain, right? We want to feel good in the moment. We want instant gratification. We want everything to taste good. We want everything to smell good. We want everything to feel good. Good. And what that's done is that's softened us a bit. We don't work for our satisfaction anymore because we don't need to. We've gotten all of these companies to do it for us, right? So it just goes back to, well, what does that do to a culture? What does that do to a people, right? And it honestly, it's just look at, the relationships that people who were struggling in their upbringing and really worked very hard to get what they've achieved, and then have achieved it, right? And look at their kids and look at how their kids act, right? And how they're a little bit more spoiled than they were, how they expect things, how they're a little bit more entitled than they were, right? Not to say that this is the case everywhere, right? Because it's definitely not, from the people who've recognized this, but for those who have not, you'll find that these kids become little brats. They expect the world, right? So that's basically what's kind of happening now is people, we're getting lazy. We're just getting lazy as a society. And I'm talking about lazy physically, right? Lazy about our bodies, because people work very hard. I will say people work very, very hard. But when it comes to our bodies, people are so quick to dismiss it as if it's not important. But you have to remember, our bodies, without our bodies, we don't exist, right? We exist spiritually in that sense, right? But we don't
body
exist
is mind,
physically.
mind is body.
We don't exist physically. So if we're not taking care of the one thing that we truly own, that's another topic for another conversation, that we truly own, right? Then how are we going to take care of our lives as it spans in its full potential,
Right. Okay. So yeah, TikTok culture, constant serotonin, Nestle giving us serotonin by the piles, I'm getting somewhere thesis wise here, which is, okay, they work at super hard jobs, most are minimum salary. The employers, their goal is to maximize their outputs, right? And I think in some strata of society, they get mostly taken advantage of, like they really get squeezed out, especially from a time perspective, right? You're going to spend 9 to 5 of your day here. That's 8 hours, man. And you add a crappy diet on top of that, your energy is down. I finish the job, I don't have any more energy to think about anything, right? I'm like on autopilot. So I watch the TV, I eat shitty food. I think to my man David Goggins' credit, I would say like go one more. And I think Nick Baird is also about that expression, which is to get the extra effort to possibly find another job, right? To try to scale the ladder at least, so that your energy expenditure becomes less, and even better, start your own stuff, although the energy expenditure is quite extreme on that level, which is why we probably need to support these communities, especially the entrepreneurs in there. I think that's where I would be getting, because most of these folks, they don't have any energy to get out of that cycle. Last point I want to address, because the pod's almost done. A lot of folks in these communities, certainly in Mexico and in the hood, it's quite popular as well. They go to church, and church can be good at this level. I also think that churches are becoming more and more somewhat rational, so they kind of let go of the religion idea, and they become somewhat businesses, which is also a negative point. But I think if people like scale from that, and then they scale to, for example, Eric Thomas, David Goggins, and then if they look at examples in the community of folks that made it, LeBron, Jay-Z, all these highly successful people, I think that can get them out. And the younger they are, the more susceptible their little brain would be to absorb that influence, and possibly that would inspire them for greatness. I think in the hood and in Mexico, what we need more is more successful entrepreneurs that people can relate to, right? What do you think about all of that?
Well, I'd 100% agree. I think that entrepreneurship is the way to true financial freedom. I think that there's a couple of other very lucrative ways to get there, but I think entrepreneurship, it just teaches you principles that you wouldn't get anywhere else. It's like going through the school of hard knocks versus going through Harvard school. Harvard school's great, right? But a lot of it's theoretical, right? It's not until you hit the ground running do you recognize that this stuff is actually a lot harder than my profession made it seem. So it's great in that sense. I think that it's unfortunately not particularly practical. And I say that because there's a quote by one of the Rockefellers, and how they generated the economy, the U.S. economy, in like the 18 or early 1900s. And he said that I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. And that struck a chord in me, because it got me thinking that, although it's cruel and although it's rough to hear, because it's like, man, that means that we need a nation of people just working that 9 to 5 and doing all of the work, right? And a lot of those people won't have the opportunity for abundance, right? Because they have to stay in that mindset, that grind mindset. And honestly, an economy couldn't thrive without it, right? They're the very backbone of our economy. And if we had a nation of entrepreneurs, everyone was creating on their ideas and building businesses, we would have nobody to help push their message and their idea forward. So I think there's a balance in all of this. I do think that there is a stronger need for entrepreneurship, for sure. I think that we need to continue to thrive in that world and build more businesses and build and execute on more ideas. However, we do need those people who are doing the work, doing the actual work, to be bought into their role, right? But I do believe that the way that our capitalistic society is currently set up is backwards. I do believe that these guys who are building, who are breaking their backs and sacrificing time away from their families, I do believe that they should be rewarded more. And I do believe that they should be paid more than some of the executives up top, and spread that, trickle down that money. I'm not saying executives should be poor. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that some of these guys should share the wealth just a little bit more. Because, I mean, we're talking about companies that have billions of dollars, and we have billionaires that are leading a lot of these top level organizations. And great, your family or you or, your investment group did great, right? But why are you capturing all those dollars? You know what I mean? Like, you can't spend $1 billion. Like, why do you have it? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do with that? You know what I mean? You could easily change a multitude of lives just by spreading that thin just a little bit. Take half of that and give that to your employees. You know what I mean? It's just things like that I think can really help change and shift the way that we look at the workforce, that we look at, our society altogether. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, I mean, that's.
Love the idea. I haven't thought of it that way. Sometimes even me, I'm like, yeah, my employees, their ROI and so forth, but maybe I could look at it from a more social perspective and give out more, which is a hard thing to do as well when you're an entrepreneur. But my vision is like, provide them an ecosystem and a structure so that they can thrive. And to entrepreneurs, I expect all my employees to become entrepreneurs. Obviously, it's a hard way, but I think it's probably one of the only way in the age of AI. This is not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. The information is there, though. The tools are there. The tech is there. And if I can start this OS of, providing folks with the right information, making them accountable, providing them support, which is what I'm doing with my masterminds, level 96, just that these folks are already high level entrepreneurs. So maybe I could do it at the start. I think that could be pretty cool. It's been nice having you, Tyrone. Great convo. We didn't talk much about your business, but I think it was one of definitely of my best podcasts this month. So good job on that. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so we have 2 websites. So we have revfit.us, and that's for our fitness apparel stuff. I'm actually wearing one of the shirts right now. And then we also have revsupps.com, where we sell our performance-based supplements like Muscle Up and Any Up, Level Up. These are pre-workouts, BCAAs, creatine, so on and so forth. We're completely Black owned, and we are continue to emerge inside the fitness community and all communities worldwide.
Good job, my man. I'm Charles Cormier, CEO of Founder Wisdom and CEO Wisdom Podcast.com.